Okay, sir. Well, just a little background information on this. This thing last erupted in 1983. There was an eruption before that in 1954. And the scenario of events basically went that last night at about 03:30 Zulu, they actually measured some really slight volcanic tremor near the area. Kind of gave them a rough heads up that seismically something was happening, but they didn't know that an eruption was going to occur. Obviously, that's very hard to predict. About 0920, this thing actually erupted. It's still currently erupted. It's got a pretty good vertical ash column. We're measuring it with our supplemental weather radar to have a top of approximately 31,000 feet. Here's a map of the Vatnajökull Glacier itself. The eruption is occurring on the eastern edge of this volcanic, or of this ice-covered lake in the middle of the Vatnajökull Glacier called Grímsvötn. It's erupting currently. Like I said, cloud estimated ash column is about 31,000 feet. And right now the upper level winds are from the west to the east. So it's driving the ash cloud to the eastern part of the island along the coast right here. Away from us, yes sir, which is good news for us. This was a shot taken from the Icelandic news agency. They took this with a digital camera. They're obviously on the western side of the volcanic eruption column. Here it is right here. It's starting to peak off right about here. And then finally, this just shows you, again, this is a map of areas of high seismic activity, and you can see that the area that this occurred in is just historically a very high area for seismic activity and volcanic activity, as is most of Iceland in general. What's kind of interesting about this chart is this is sort of a collection of seismic activity over a 1 month period, and you can see it follows pretty precisely the area where the mid-Atlantic spreading ridge basically cuts Iceland in half. Right now, they actually have sensors placed all around this lake because historically this lake has been what has caused the majority of what are called jökulhlaup, and that's subglacial flooding. When you get volcanic activity underneath the glacier,
and you're telling me a lake, but I don't see a lake, so that's a lake under the glacier.
Exactly, sir. Right here, Grímsvötn, this small area right here, is actually an ice-covered lake.
Mm-hmm. Not anymore.
Still is.
Is it?
Yes, sir. Still a lake, still covered with ice.
So I have visions of this ice-covered lake on top of this boiling kettle. Seems to me like it's a bottle of champagne waiting to go off.
Pretty much. That's kind of the scenario that occurs. There's actually a subglacial bowl, if you will, underneath this ice cap that fills with water. That's what creates the lake. And what happens is when they get volcanic activity and the edges of this subglacial bowl fill up or burst because of the extra pressure, the water bursts through the side of this lake and actually drain out of this glacier area here. What they're looking for right now is they're noticing that the level of this ice-covered lake is decreasing. They've actually got sensors in place to measure that, and they've noticed that the level of the lake is decreasing. The ice cap is going down, and so they know it's starting to drain right now. Their best guess right now is that the water is going to take a southerly drainage route, probably follow the exact same drainage route of the Jökulhlaup in 1996, and they expect it to reach the edge of the glacial tongue right here in about 10 hours from now. They expect it to be light to moderate flooding. They don't expect to see the kind of flooding that they saw with the Jökulhlaup in 1996, but they expect to see some moderate flooding in 10 hours to drain out of this glacial tongue right here.